Hi, everyone. Charlie Day here from Day to Day Senior Care. How are you? So, we are live today. We are doing episode 6 of our podcast for thinking of starting your own senior care business. Well, this is if you look to our right on the screen, you'll see on our website, you would just hit the listen now button. And let me show you if I can do it here. Okay. I'll go to the screen itself. Still learning all this stuff here. You would hit the listen now button on our website and it'll bring you right to our website. Episode 6 is live right now. Thinking of starting your own senior care business. Okay. Today's episode, I have a script with me today so I don't go off key here. And it's called The Big Three in Senior Care. That's our presentation today. The Big Three in Senior Care. All right. So, welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're looking at the foundation of your business. What type of care are you going to provide if you're going to start your own senior care business? Folks, we're breaking down the three most popular models. Okay. So, let's open up the screen. And we should be able to see this. This is our presentation. All right. I need to get out of here for a second and check it on here. We're going to switch. Give me a second here. I'm going to take this one out. Let's see here. Replace. And we're going to do a new screen share. All right. That. And then let's do a new screen share right here, folks. Appreciate your patience here as I'm trying to get this going. Whoop. Okay. And there she is. Okay. Episode 6, it should say. Sorry about that. The Big Three in Senior Care. Everyone can see that, I hope. All right. So, just introduce myself again. Charles Day from Day to Day Senior Care. And I am the founder owner of a company that provides services for seniors. We do companion services, we do transition services, we do placement services, we do discharge planning services, consultation services. Um, we do seasonal things like snow removal during the winter. We've helped our clients. And then in the summers, we do our camper getaway weekends with camper companions that are trained to take our clients camping. We use an RV and we spend the weekend camping. Okay. Um, I'm in my second year. This was my first year. And I mean, last year I did my first year. This is my second year. I'm in March now. Um, this series is very personal to me because I'm right here in the thick of it. I have 4 clients of my own. Um, and I continue to service them while running this business. I have companions that work with other clients. We've taken over, we had 12 last year, we carried over 10, and we currently have an additional 3, with 2 more expected to open up either late this month or early April. Slow and steady wins the race, folks. I'm in no rush. It's a very competitive business. If you're going to focus on one of the big 3, which is the in-home senior care companion services, non-medical, there's so much need for it out there. There is not enough companies to cover all the need out there. Even though it's very competitive, I'm gonna teach you how to rise above, especially as a new, business. You need to find your niche. You need to find your, things that will help carry you above and get you noticed. Um, and then the rest goes from there. It's referral sources. But I'm going to follow um, the episode today. You can always go to our YouTube channel. Please subscribe, and you can get every episode that's coming up. We can give you an alert once a month. I'm not going to overwhelm people with the subscriptions. Very excited that we already have over 5,000 views on our YouTube channel. Okay, that's not with our day to day senior care Facebook page, LinkedIn page, my personal pages in Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram. We have a day to day senior care Instagram, but we're growing a network of people that are at least interested in seeing what we have to offer, and most importantly, our families that we are servicing right now. They can always come to our YouTube channel and look at our Care with Confidence podcast, which will explain a lot about what's going on in the current trends. We get special guests that'll be companions and um, nurses, aides, and CNAs that are already in the business. Some of them are former peers I've worked with over 3 decades, and they're actually working in assisted living and nursing homes, but yet they come as special cases for me. Okay. I was a good boss. They've actually reached out to me many times and said, "You have anything yet? You have anything yet?" So I'm doing my best, and I try to keep the business family focused, former peers. And if I bring in new people, it's usually referrals from the families and the former peers. So it's very important to um, when you're bringing in your staff, you've got to do your best to try and keep that network of close relationships, trust factors. It's all very important. And of course, continuity, continuity, people that will continue to work. My own sister has worked it'll be a year this July, and she hasn't called in sick once with her client. Okay. Not saying that things happen in life and everything, and I get that, but very important to be able to grow a staff. That's all comes with leadership skills, folks. Okay, so let's get into episode 2 presentation, the big three in senior care. All right. I am going to switch over so I could, let me see if I'm able to change it while I'm here. If I click it, no. So I have to go into the screen itself. I will be over here. All right. So the senior care landscape. Why pick a lane? Why are we picking a lane, folks? We're picking a lane because we have one different startup costs. Depending on whether you go with uh, senior care, non medical, or you want to open an adult daycare center, which services non medical, or you want to open up an assisted living facility. Okay. Hold on one second. I feel like I'm okay. Get this up here. Okay. So you want to open up an assisted living facility. Okay. Now, I'm from New York, folks. I have a New York State licensed nursing home administrator license that I still active. I was an adult home administrator, and I had to be certified and licensed to that with the New York State Department of Health. If you're doing a medical care agency, you need to be licensed by New York State Department of Health. Assisted livings, adult daycare centers, home companion services, not so much. It's the foundation for going into home care on my, as far as I'm concerned, with my career endeavor and operation mindset and what I plan on doing. But the first thing is different startup costs. I mean, you want to start up a home companion program, you can go a few ways. You can do like I did and decided to do it on my own. I stepped out of the corporate world after 3 decades working in assisted livings and nursing homes and adult homes, hospitals. I took the leap and decided I'm going to learn about home care and operate home care and grow a business. Okay, so costs are dependent on how you want to grow your business. You know, you start with your expenses. when you first open up, you've got your start getting your LLCs or corps or whatever you want to do. You've got to register. You've got to do publishing of in paper, articles in Newsday or Wall Street Journal or any of those that allow you to do classifieds, and you've got to publicly announce your business. That's a requirement that's got to be done with 120 days from the time you register with New York State. I'm not going to get into all that today. I want to stay focused. That's why I have my script. I always said I wasn't going to have a script, but I do need a script because I tend to get excited about this. Been doing it a long time, and I'm still very passionate. Okay, so the senior care landscape. Now, we also have different licensing rules. Okay, and you see with the different licensing rules, uh, you know, again with the non-medical home companion, there's rules and regulations. We're developing, continuing developing policies and regs. But once you go into medical, um, it's stricter and requires more policies and regulations and licensing rules. LLCs are limited liability companies. You are the sole proprietor of your business, so you are going to be able to. There's a lot of things you can do and can't do. I'm not going to get into the depth of that today. We just want to show you which lane you want to pick. All right. And then there's the adult daycare and the assisted living, which go through the New York State DOH. I worked in assisted livings. I know the rules and regulations since the 90s, how much they've expanded and grown and added. I mean, now you have to. Not only do you need a license in assisted living to open it, just a basic assisted living in New York. If you're going to take in residents that are going to need some additional services, there's other licenses you need to apply and be approved for. That includes enhanced licensing. Um, there were so many of them. So I could go on and on with that as well. They've grown a lot. So I mean, in some facilities, I know in Bristol's, they can use a Hoyer nowadays. Back when I was working, there were no Hoyers. No, 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 not in assisted living, and even memory, even dementia care was a big thing back then. We opened. I was very fortunate to be part of a very large adult home, which became an assisted living, 400 beds in Hopog, and those were very very important. Um, Sorry, I got sidetracked there. Um, I'm looking. We're also on TikTok right now. Somebody had sent something. I just can't answer right now. So um, this first memory care unit was put into the Suffolk County in that facility, and we had to get special licensing in order to operate it. It was a 76 bed safe care unit, it was called at the time, and I was hired as the case manager to be specifically certified by the state to be the case manager for that safe care unit, so that um, whatever I needed to do, whether it was the initial admission notes and then the first 7-day note, then there was the 3-month follow up note, then there was the 6-month progress note, then there was the annual note, and obviously we had paper charts back then, folks. There was no technology like there is today with the computers and software programs to do electronic records. Okay, so that was all old school stuff. But yes, so a lot is advanced. But you want to know if you're going to start your own business, you've got to know the rules and the regulations, the licensing rules. Um, we are going to have special seminars down the road. You're welcome to attend. I'll be hosting them once a month. I'll be on the road doing events and conferences. Can certainly catch up with me there. Um, and I'm going to be working on a book that I'm going to publish that will try and explain this senior care business and everything, and how I started it and how I am growing in our second year. And I think I'm good. I don't think I need to go back and work in a nursing home right now. I think I'm very happy with the clients, the families. It's a great business, folks, but it has to be done correctly, okay, to succeed. And then the third is the different lifestyles for you. You need to find out what kind of lifestyle you have. I'm doing a quick look at my script here. I'm definitely going off script today, folks, because we only have a total of 30 minutes on this episode. But yeah, so you can't do it all in one day. Your choice impacts how much money you need upfront, the legal hoops you jump through, and whether you're working 9 to 5 or are on call at 2 a.m. Okay. So everyone has their different lifestyles. You may not want to do assisted living because you may not want to be there all hours of the day. Trust me, it don't matter whether you're the owner or the administrator. You're going to be there. It's not a 9 to 5 job. You want to do adult daycare center? That's a little different. They're only open from 9 to 3, which and some people may like that. You still get the residents that you can make a profit to help your business on, and they're all there in one place. You get your team in there, you work that out, and it could be a very profitable business. It's definitely needed because there are a lot of residents, clients I've spoken with, or know where their next step may be. They don't need to go in assisted living yet, but if I can get them like an adult day center, it would help with that transition into assisted living because now they're in the community, they're at the facility. It's a great thing. Okay, let's go on to the next. Okay, so the non-medical in-home care. Okay, the non-medical in-home care. Just doing a quick look at my notes. Okay. So focus daily living tasks, cooking, cleaning, and bathing are one of the priorities when you're doing companion services. Okay. So you're going to need to have companions that are trained to be able to do the cooking, cleaning, and the bathing, assistance with bathing. Um, it also requires more than just that. It requires activities, being able to get them out for a walk in the springtime, or getting them to a social event, or taking them out grocery shopping. I have a few of my own clients that I take on occasion out grocery shopping, and they enjoy it, even if it's for a few items. They're out of the house, they're doing something very important. Okay, so what are the startup costs? The startup costs are low to medium. Um, Again, it depends on what you want to do. All right. Now, if you want to go with a franchise in home care, that's another whole area. Okay. In franchising, you have you can start as low as honestly, I did a lot of research before I even launched my business last year in January, because it's easier to just jump into something that's already existing. You got your uniforms, you got your logo already, you got your website up, you got your team, everything. It's great. It's great. But I'm definitely not gonna uh, hide the fact that you don't need to. You really don't need to. If you're a go-getter, if you're an entrepreneur, you can save 25,000 to $100,000, and there's no guarantee, folks. So if you start to not do well, they don't care. Pay me. If you don't do if you're not making a profit that month, they don't care. Pay me. Okay? Because they need to get their they have a profit margin, they collect royalties, they collect fees. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I mean, we may eventually want to franchise day-to-day senior care too in the future. I have a lot of other moving parts. I'm in a few other businesses, but we're also going to eventually move out of New York. We're going to open up in Maine eventually because I have a Maine nursing home administrator's license up there too. So I don't want to be up there all the time either. So I may need to franchise. I may need to find someone that's willing to invest with me. And if I know that they're a really good leader and they're going to do well, we're going to work together. I'm certainly not going to charge 25,000 or higher. I'm going to be more open to you know to something that is more workable at this point. But Very, very important to know that, if you do take on a franchise, you may be in a lot of debt initially. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of companies out there, the owners are doing very well, and that's great. You take off, and now you've got a lot of clients, and then you've got all that corporate structure behind you. Me, I'm gonna create the corporate structure as we grow. I'm already looking at, having people take over tasks that I'm getting better at, because I feel that, once I learn all this AI and get things going, I'll have some other people that can do, some things as well, a younger crowd that is a lot more knowledgeable than I am. I'm still learning every day. So I'll build a corporate team. I'll have we have I have 2 account territory managers now. I'm looking for a third. Eventually, they will be the management team to take over all of Long Island. We're out in East, we're out in Suffolk, and now we're in Nassau. Um, okay, so very important to know what your startup costs are. And again, your expenses. Their expenses. You got to purchase your printer. You got to purchase, a lot of marketing, online stuff. To do your marketing, software. So there's a lot involved in the startup course. Okay. Again, I'm giving broad overviews on these 30-minute podcasts. Again, we are going to open an academy eventually, Day to Day Senior Care Academy, and we'll be able to bring in larger groups at once and be able to do trainings, in depth, and we'll just grow. We'll grow exponentially, and all of us will do very well. Or you can certainly go on your own, as well, and start your own home care. And then the profit margin. It's volume based, folks. So with the profit margins, in assisted living, you've got your residents, and you're making money on per beds. Okay, you've got, say it's a facility with 100 beds. I'm just using an example. So every bed that's filled is profit per month to pay expenditures and operating costs. Okay, so if you have filled to capacity, and you see everyone on social media, especially on LinkedIn, when they're like, "Yes, we're full, we're full," the owners are loving it. Okay, because, and of course the staff too. It's great to be full. It's not always accomplishable. I've had it a few times in some of the facilities I work, and when you get it, it's a great feeling, because you don't have to do as many admissions. There's less notes to do, things like that. But anyway, it's important, for owners to have there's a margin. There's a certain amount. They don't want to 60 beds in with, uh, 40 beds, or 20 beds, whatever, that are still, empty. So with adult day centers, with the adult daycare centers, you get maybe like 15, and you're doing well, you get a profit off of, a profit margin is, whatever you got to pay your staff, you got to pay your, if there's somebody there that's doing the housekeeping, whatever it is, you've got to incur all of these, expenses, and then you'll take, the profit from that. Both of those businesses are very profitable. I will tell you that in New York State. Will I ever do something like that? I don't know. I'm looking more to retiring, campground property, that I've been working on. I got a little business going on with that right now. That's where I want to go maybe in the future. Just, sell this business, or have someone else operate it, and then be able to grow that campground business so I can relax, and at the RV, but I'm also working, you know what I mean, during the summer times. And me being a social butterfly, I love hanging out with fellow campers. It's great when you have people that are vacationing. They're always in a good mood. Anyway, I'm getting off key here, off track. So let's go back to, let's go on to the next. Okay. Okay, so yeah, we're talking about we were talking a little bit about the assisted living facilities. So very important, focus is 24/7 care in a residential facility. You can't get around that. And just a note too, I had written down that, you know, this is the most popular starting point because you don't need real estate in the beginning, just great caregivers. But the margins are tighter in the beginning. So you need a higher volume of clients and staff to scale. Okay. Um, so in assisted living, again, I explained to you, it's the revenue is in the per bed per month, like a monthly rent, almost like real estate property. All right. Now, if you do decide to go assisted living, you're going to need to purchase real estate. Okay. As opposed to doing home care or things like that. So, um, startup costs could be really high, millions, folks, in the millions. And everyone's, oh yeah, I'll get assisted. Trust me, it's not that easy to get the license either. Okay, the New York State Department of Health is very strict on who they're going to approve. Same thing with home care. Um, Everyone thinks, say, oh yeah, I can just go get a home care agency license, and the state will approve me. All right. I'm an active licensed nursing home administrator, and I've got 30 plus years, and I'm doing home care non-companion right now. I'm putting all these moving parts in place, and I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that they approve me. All right. They don't approve everybody. That's the thing. You see all these ads out there. Oh yeah, we'll get you started in assisted living. All right, maybe in another state. I'm not too sure how the other states are, but not in New York. Profit margin is phenomenal. Okay, trust me, I've seen the financials in both assisted living, nursing homes. You could be extremely profitable, um, very high, very high. All right, so you may invest millions, but you're going to be okay. Um, Adult daycare centers focus daytime care and socialization. So again, you're looking at like an 8 to 3 or 2 o'clock, maybe a 6 hour day, 5 days a week. You're off on weekends. It's nice. Remember, we spoke about the lifestyle. It's a great business to have, no doubt. I've been in a lot of adult daycare centers in my 30 years, but I am more of what do you call? I was more of just going in there to see residents or get involved in some outside stuff during that time. I never actually was employed in an adult daycare center, but it's a good lifestyle if you like to have weekends off, unlike myself. Startup cost medium for a commercial lease, not as expensive as assisted living. Again, you have lower resident volume, um, so you got to see what you like. Profit margins are pretty predictable and scalable. Now, we didn't say that when we were in assisted living because they're not always predictable and scalable. Okay. Um, all right. So making your decision. Okay. So making your decision. Um, how much capital do I have? That's what you very important too when you start. How much capital do I have? When you start in like myself, for example, I invested, capital. I put money into the business before I launched it in January of 2025 because I already had to start in December getting that, sending out the application, which was like, I think $250 or whatever. And there were other applications for things that I needed to get in order to get registered and licensed for the LLC. So you're starting to invest already. And then in January, we launched. I opened it up officially with an older website that with GoDaddy at the time. I had small expenses. I had my personal expenses too because I went from a very profitable, working in senior care and nursing care, especially as a nursing home administrator. You can make a lot of money, yeah, six figures, folks. But I stepped out of it, believing in myself, and I'm proud to say that I'm surviving. But it takes a while. Um, so you got to have some capital. If you're going to franchise, you better have a lot of capital. Um, and again, you've got to really weigh those factors out on what you may want to start first and see about doing it yourself. And another thing too is I don't care. It just gets me sometimes when I see some of these ads from some of the people that just come out of nowhere, and they're like, yeah, you can grow your senior care company, and from the first month, in 2 months you could be making $50,000, and I'm like, are you kidding me? It took me almost a year, well, it took me a couple of months just to get 4 clients, at least 6 months to get 4 clients solid for myself, and I was the owner, and I had to do it. I was doing almost 40 hours a week. Then I dropped to 30. Then I let go of a client. Then I took a client back. Look, you know, if you're the owner, expect it. Don't think you're not going to be, unless you want to just not me. I always want to make money because I got bills to pay, and I'm passionate about what I do. So I have some great clients that are still with me to this day in year two. They love me. I love them. Um, and then, of course, you got to look at what are my local zoning laws. Okay, so when you're doing assisted living or working in any business, you've got to see if you're going to take on new construction, or any other things you want to look at into that. So that is pretty much it for today. Again, I'm just giving 30-minute overviews, letting you know that my professional consultations are available for anyone. All right. Um, but we're going to be doing some other things. The most important thing, folks, is to subscribe. If you hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, I promise I'm not going to be dating you with a whole bunch of emails. Once a month, we'll just put out what we're going to be scheduling for the the next month. So if you're really interested in you have that entrepreneurial spirit and you want to grow a business, you can certainly learn from me. Um, I'm the real deal. I'm not doing anything that this is what I do for a living. It's my lifelong career. This last step in growing this senior care business to the best I can is the last ring on my ladder. All right, I'm not ready to retire, but I'm ready to you know move forward in the final ring. Next week we're going to go into a little bit more about navigating the state licensing in New York State specifically. So yes, you can certainly ask me questions about other states, but I'd have to look it up because I'm mostly New York State with everything here. Maine, I know what the rules are in Maine because like I said, I have a active nursing. Well, it's not active right now. It's there. I'm going to reactivate it when I go up this spring. But I did get approved to do operations up in Maine because I had worked in a facility up there, and they awarded me a license in Maine after I gave them all my experience and all that. And it was a great facility. It had both assisted living and uh, a nursing home. So it was great and it was during COVID, but it was great to be able to work in both again, you know? So, because I love both of those, those industries. I love the assisted living and I love the long-term care. But the regulations and the rules, I'd rather be in assisted living than nursing. That's my own personal, you know, uh, feeling because you got the book and assisted livings like this for regulations with the DOH, and then you got the Medicaid regulations along with the rules and regs by the DOH in nursing homes. So anyway, yeah, get in touch with me, folks. Get in touch with me. Day to day senior care .com is our website. You can get me there. My phone number's there. Charles at daytodayseniorcare.com. You know where to find me. I'm all over, folks, and available. Thank you very much. We went over 4 minutes, but you're all great. And I really appreciate over 5,000 views on just our YouTube channel. So just subscribe, help me out, because that makes it easier for me to get you stuff in a more timely fashion. Okay. All right, everyone. Take care, and I will be in touch. All right, you TikToks friends. Just gonna check and see if there are any questions. Okay. Nobody. All right, no questions. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. And again, hope to see you soon. Bye bye.